off the dirt and stand your ground. Dig down deep. Face your fears, don't fear defeat. Can't, never could, and quitters never win. Get your game face on the prize. Chase your dreams, get off the sidelines. Get your game face on. Keep your head up high, your feet on the ground. Always moving forward, don't you ever back down. Get your game face on. Hit it hard, play tough, even when you're out of luck. Don't be afraid to get down on your knees and pray. Can't, never could, and quitters never win. Get your game face on the prize. Chase your dreams, get off the sidelines. Get your game face on. Keep your head up high, your feet on the ground. Always moving forward, don't you ever back down. Get your game face on. Come on. Get your game face on the prize. Chase your dreams, get off the sidelines.
www.avradio.org and go to the Artist Spotlight of the Week, and you will find Gannon's profile out there, his bio. If you click on our photograph out there, it will take you to his. But most importantly, let him know that you're listening to him on American Veterans Radio, and also let him know where you're listening from. Very, very important. Now, talk about listening and from where you're listening. We do have the privilege, as American Veterans Radio, to have Gannon on live with me somewhere. Well, actually, just told me he's getting ready to get into Atlanta. He was traveling from Nashville, Tennessee to Atlanta, Georgia. But in the meantime, he took his time out to hang out with me and, more importantly, you, our great listeners. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Gannon Adams, our Artist Spotlight of the Week. What's up, man?
What's going on, yo?
Man, thank you so much for being here. It's just a privilege. And I told you, and I'm going to tell you this too. Your song, Game Face, I've seen the videos and everything. A lot of your proceeds are going to the Wounded Warriors. Thank you for that.
No problem at all. I appreciate everything that all of our military do for us. I can't thank them enough.
You know, I watched the YouTube video you have out there. How humbling was that for you to be there with all those great warriors?
It was great. Great. I mean, just being honored enough to have them want to make a video and, just use my song for them was just so honoring.
You know what? And we're honored too as well. And congratulations, by the way, on the your latest CD release of Tailgate High that was released last month.
Yeah, excited about it.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said we're just excited to have it out. I couldn't wait enough to the release day. I was so excited, and just to get new music out. It's been about a year since I've released a CD, and we're just excited to have it on iTunes so everybody can listen to it.
There you go, guys. Go out and get it. Get it. It's called Tailgate High from Gannon Adams, our Artist Spotlight of the Week. All right, let me just go to this, because when I was doing a little research about you, and I like to do that, I found something very fascinating, because me, myself, I grew up in the quote-unquote country western, twangy, and that's what a lot of newer people call it. But I liked it. I like the new stuff, too. Don't get me wrong. But I sit here and looked, and you not only opened up for Merle Haggard once at Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee, you end up opening for 3 times. What the hell is up with that? Just explain that whole phenomenon to me, okay?
Oh man, it was the best experience ever. I mean, I grew up listening to Merle Haggard. My daddy had Merle Haggard playing all the time when we'd go on hunt trips or, you know, anywhere, sitting around, you know, cooking out in the afternoons with Merle Haggard playing in the background. And he's my hero. I mean, I love Merle Haggard, and to be able to open up for him was the best experience I've ever had. I mean, if I never do anything else with music, I got to do that, and I can say I've opened up for the legendary Merle Haggard.
But can I ask you something? Did you get a chance to sit down? Because I've been in the Ryman before. Did you get a chance to sit back in the room there and just have a one-on-one with him?
I did. You know, I was actually scheduled to open for Merle before the Ryman Auditorium in Macon, Georgia, and that was when Merle came down with pneumonia, and they put him in the hospital for a couple of weeks.
Oh, Lord.
And I was getting ready to get on stage. I was on stage, getting ready to walk out, and they come out and said that Merle had to cancel the show, that he had pneumonia, but it was actually that morning before I got to sit down with him and hang out, and it was so cool to have somebody that you look up to and somebody that, you know, I can say is one of my heroes and one of my favorite country music singers. So when I walked in, he walked right up to me, and I stuck my hand out, and I said, "Mr. Haggard, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Gannon Adams." He said, "What's your name again, son?" I said, "Gannon."
That's okay.
But he said, how do you say your name? I said, "It's like Gannon, but with a G." And we sat in that meeting for about 3 hours, and I listened to him talk and tell stories. Just how cool was that? And I remember when I got up to leave, I walked right up to him, and I stuck my hand out, and I said, "Mr. Haggard, it was a pleasure meeting you." And he said, "Gannon, it was a pleasure meeting you." So he remembered my name through the whole 3-hour conversation that we all sat around and had. And I just, you know, that blew me away.
3 hours. I was thinking you'd be lucky 3 minutes. You got 3 hours with the legendary Merle Haggard.
3 hours. We sat there and had breakfast and, like I said, told stories and talked music and everything else.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. If you did anything else, you know, that is a story you'll tell your grandkids. I have no doubt.
Well, it was amazing. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Or now let's take, you know, from a musical point of view, I should say, let's take going from Merle Haggard, which actually he was pretty big in my era, to be honest with you. But, you know, also who's big in my era is some of the individual you're opening up for recently. Rodney Atkins, Jacko Confederate Railroad, Mark Willis. What's that like?
Just can't explain it. I mean, it was awesome. You know, I got Mark Willis was a great guy. I do a celebrity quail hunt, what they call it, down in Albany, Georgia, every year. And it's funny how it all worked out. My daddy and his best friend, Brian Cagle, used to go down there all the time. And I used to go to school. I went to college down at Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, which is in Tifton, Georgia. And they always had this quail hunt once a year in Albany. And I remember going down there. Daddy would invite me down, and I would come down for 2 nights and hang out and go to the banquets and everything with him. I never got to hunt, but I got to go and hang out and meet, you know, people. I've met Daryl Singletary down there and folks like that. And I got to hang out. I evidently, as I started playing and my music got out, I got to knowing these guys down there, and I started getting invited to these things, and now they're putting me up down there in hotel rooms for 3 nights, and I'm one of the people that are getting to, you know, one of the artists that are getting to perform, and I got to hunt with Mark Wills and spend all day with Mark, and, man, he's just a super nice guy. And same way with, like, Danny Shirley from Confederate Railroad. I mean, just these guys are just great guys. I mean, and it's great to know that there's still, you know, humbling people out there that, you know, will take the time to talk to you and have a conversation with you like that. People that you listen to on the radio, you know, it's just a great feeling.
Well, I'm going to throw this out. Excuse me. I'm going to throw this out at you because I know some of your writers or co-writers from some of your past CDs, like Breaking Me Down and that kind of thing. You had Jason Aldean, but you also had co-writers such as Charlie Daniels. Now, you've got Charlie, in my opinion, is one of the most patriotic individuals you'll ever find. And actually, I got to hang out with him in a concert he did here in Indiana, where I am. And he paid for the dinner for every veteran who was in the house. That's the kind of guy this guy was. Then you got Jason Aldean, who just rocks my sock off. I'm an old country dude, and I tell Vicki Lynn, and I said, this dude's good. So you got co-writers such as Jason and Charlie. I'm telling you, you got Merle, you got Charlie, you got Jason. What the hell is going on with you? You got something going, man.
I actually, through Jason and everything, I haven't got to write with those guys. I'm actually opening up for Charlie Daniels in October, so I'm excited to meet him. You say he's a great guy. I've heard he's a good guy, so you got me excited.
Oh, no, he's phenomenal. And by the way, he comes up here in Indiana, like I said, where I am. He comes to the Honeywell Center a couple times a year. So make sure you're on that. And Vicki Lynn and I from the Jim and Vic's Country Cave Show will sit down and do an interview with you if you are so humbled to do so. We'd be humbled to do that.
Definitely. You're talking about Jason and all that. I got hooked up with Jason Aldean's father, Barry Williams. And that's actually how I got those songs. And those were songs that Jason had wrote when Jason first came to town and had a publishing deal. And he was, kind of doing the same thing I'm doing, meeting folks, networking around town, writing as much as he could, just trying to make it like everybody else. And these were songs that were never released. And through his father is actually how I was able to get these songs. And a lot of people don't know this about Jason, but Jason is a phenomenal writer himself, with all these songs that he has. But, he's been built himself enough where, he has other people write his songs for him. I guess he don't have to do it anymore.
But okay, you say that, and I'm sure, and I actually have confidence that you're going to be to that point where you're going to have to be selective. And when I say have to be, because I understand, I'm kind of busy in my own occupation as well, so I understand you get to the point where you can't do it all. So I get that. But can you ever visualize yourself to the point where I don't mind people helping me write or co-write? I'm all that, or whatever. But can you see yourself where I just don't have time to write anymore?
I don't know if I could ever just stop writing. I enjoy it too much. Especially with your, when you're writing with a couple of your buddies, and it's just so much fun. Especially when a song's coming together and it's so easy and you're having just a great time, sitting around playing guitars, bouncing ideas off of each other. I couldn't see myself not writing anymore. So.
I actually read something where you said something very similar to that, where you said you just when you guys are together, you're just having fun and things start working and clicking. It's like it puts a big smile on your face, right?
It does. It's fun, and it's any job that's fun is not a job. It's just a great feeling to be able to do what I do every day and meet these people that I'm meeting and writing with these different guys and girls, because I don't just write with guys. I've had a couple female co-writers on some songs, and it's fun.
I was going to actually bring up the fact that Barry was Jason Aldean's dad. Did you know that? Did you know that when you first met him?
I did. I was actually going on a hunting trip. It was one of my really good friends, like I mentioned earlier. His name's Brian Cagle. He met Brian. Brian sings country gospel music, and through his country gospel singing, he was able to meet Brian and Barry, and was able to get some gospel songs from Barry. And one day, he called me up and he's like, I got a guy I want you to come meet. And he said, how about you bring your guitar when you come down here to the house and play this guy a couple of songs? And he told me who he was, but I didn't think nothing of it. I just went down there to have fun, and hang out and so I brought my guitar, ended up singing a couple of songs, and we ended up going hunting, and from there, I got his phone number, and it was actually a couple months later before I called him, and Barry invited me out to his house one afternoon, because Barry, actually, I didn't know, but Barry only lives like 15 miles from my parents' house in Covington.
Wow.
Yeah, Monticello, Georgia, and went and met him, spent all day with him, and he gave me the song Breaking Me Down, which is off my first album. And I was working with my daddy at the time. My daddy's in the paving business. They own a paving company in Conyers, Georgia, called Keep Paving, and I was there, and I'll never forget it. I come home and I told Daddy, I said, Daddy, I spent all day at Barry Williams' house, which is Jason Aldeen's daddy, and, you know, Daddy was like, cool, and I said, well, he gave me a song to do, and, you know, I think I'm going to go record this song, and I'll never forget. He told me, well, you better not miss work over it, so I planned it out, you know, for a couple days after work. I would go and meet, and I had a guy that I'd met through Brian Cagle, actually, who owns a little recording studio right there in Covington called Johnson Brothers Recording Studio, and super nice guy, and just went after work and had this song done. And I remember pulling up in the driveway, and Daddy's out there blowing the driveway off. I said, listen to this for a minute. And he cut the blower off. He said, man, that's pretty good. That's real good. And from then on, I was all music.
You know what? Your dad sounds. See, I grew up in a very blue collar, less than middle class, but I grew up in Missouri, and it was just about don't miss work, and I'm still that way to this day. You know, it's your obligation. I have no issue with that, and I know a lot of you know, you listen to all the crap on the news and the political correctness and stuff, but I'm telling you, it's nice to know that kind of wore off on you. I'm just telling you, from my generation to yours. Keep up the good work. Your dad was doing just fine. Oh, my.
I got great parents. My parents are very supportive of what I do. They're actually coming to the show here this evening in Atlanta to come help me out and watch me. So I can't ask for better.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
I said I can't ask for better parents.
My gosh, I wish. You need to talk to my kids, but oh well, that's another story. But okay, where I know you're getting ready to like you said, you have your own show going on here pretty quickly. So where can people find out about Gannon Adams?
They can go to GannonAdams.com. I have a website. Also, all my social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All that good stuff. I always post things, you know, inspirational things during the day and shows, you know, when upcoming shows are coming. So they can definitely check me out online. And also iTunes. Go on iTunes. Check out my new album, Tailgate High.
Boy, that horn sound just perfect on that. That was just like perfect timing. Once again, Gannon, I want to tell you, for everybody who is listening around the world, especially our vets and first responders, how much we appreciate you taking your time. We know you're very busy. You're so busy you're traveling to get to your venue tonight. But
that's it. That's part of it. Name of the game.
But from all the veterans, first responders, and our great listeners around the world, we want to say thank you for your time. And you know what? We wish you only the best, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I sure do appreciate it.